Welcome back. Today's pose is Chaturanga, or the push-up. Definitely a posture when it comes to things like power yoga, vinyasa, that you see over and over again. But time and time again, so many instructors are not taking the time to actually prepare their students for this posture. Nonetheless, actually encourage them how to do it properly and functionally. Now, there's a lot of stuff swimming around about how to do a push-up, elbows in, elbows out. Now, this is not a military-style push-up, so we're not pulling the elbows out, and here is why. So when we come into something like Chaturanga and yoga, and I have you bring the elbows in, it's because we want to develop the triceps, the backs of the arms, and the upper back. When you pull the elbows out, like Lainey's going to do right now, it becomes all about the bicep, the front pec muscle, and kind of the front part of the deltoid. For many of us, this is already kind of short and tight, and we do a lot of activities during the day that already kind of bulk up these muscles. So to really develop the upper back is going to be an essential and critical part to assist in a pose like Chaturanga and so many other poses in yoga, but nonetheless so many other things that you do. So we're going to be practicing it with the elbows pulled in, but I'm going to show you some wiggle room and some variations because it's obviously building up these muscles that are essential. And if you follow the philosophy that I offer through yoga and through functional movement, you're going to find that as long as we can continue to do neutral and teach our body neutral and core awareness, each posture builds on itself. Each posture holds the same framework, so we're continually bringing our body back to balance. Really, Chaturanga or push-up, all it is Tadasana horizontal. So when we can look at it that way, that may also change your thinking as far as how we should be approaching this posture, and you could say the same about plank as well. All right, so Lainey's going to actually get into a plank position, and she's going to place a ball between her thighs. I love using something between your thighs, be it a ball or a block, because that inner thigh engagement fires your core muscles that much more effectively, and hey, we need all the help that we can get. You'll also notice that she has blocks underneath her stacked at the mid-level. This is going to gauge or act as a halting ground for her. So when she comes down, she's not just going to plummet towards the floor and end up in kind of a forward rounded shoulder, which for many people end up after years of yoga or years after poor body mechanics, end up with blown out shoulders or really kind of overstressed, stressed rotators, and that should never have happened. Yoga is supposed to be helping us, not hurting us. And so I really want to help you practice proper functional mechanics safely and effectively. Okay, so she's going to come into full plank, and you'll notice that her blocks are kind of in line with her wrists, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. If you're short torsoed, maybe one block's only necessary, so kind of play around with that. And you can definitely also practice this on your knees, which we'll show in just a few moments. So nice deep breath in. She's in a strong plank. And she's just going to push forward slightly with her toes, just so that she's a little bit more aligned with her shoulders over her wrists. And now on the next exhalation, slowly bending her elbows, her upper body starts to come down, and her shoulder blades pull back rigorously. Now she's actually just going to let herself use the blocks here, because what you'll see is the elbow and shoulder are level with each other. The shoulder, if you can exaggerate it, is not rounded forward. And I see this all the time. You've lost good shoulder girdle and core stability, so as a result, you no longer have joint stability. So as she pulls the shoulder back and into her socket, the upper back is broad and anchored. Now, if you are lacking that serratus anterior posterior, kind of the side rib cage, they're like finger muscles on the sides of your rib cage, you're lacking that support, that winging the scapula is often going to be present, so we definitely want to see if we can kind of work on that and focus in on that. So as you're in that Chaturanga position, it's like, how the hell do we get up off the floor? So if we're still building up tricep, upper back, lower core strength, pelvic floor strength, what often happens is the head and shoulders wrench up first, and then the lower body kind of follows. So you kind of look like a wet noodle as you come up. And it's like, oh yeah, here now I'm in plank. There's like a little mini back bend somehow put in there, and it's not supposed to be there. So this is where I'm going to actually have you use your knees. So Lainey's going to drop her knees. She's going to try to activate and lift her belly further up off the blocks, or belly and pelvis further up off the blocks. And then keeping her elbows in, she's going to slowly press up into a modified plank. Please don't think that modified means somehow I suck, okay? Modified simply means I need to use the right muscles, so I'm going to choose this variation. If it helps, don't even call it modified plank. Call it knee plank. So it's just a completely different posture. There is no lesser variation. So if she's in this variation, I'm going to take a block away, she can do the same thing. Exhale, slowly coming down, elbows bend. Now she's going to try to halt herself above the block. Catch herself. Pulling the shoulders back, pushing into the fingertips, exhale, push back up. Awesome. And then one more time, coming down, elbows in, scrape the rib cage. You're coming through the skinny hallway. And then exhale, core is strong, lifting yourself back up. She can sit back onto the heels, take a breath for herself. Not an easy posture. I love having the blocks as a support system. One other variation that you can utilize too, let me just grab my strap really quick here, sorry guys, is strapping the arms. So I'm going to quick lace up this strap, and it's actually going to be a strapping from behind. So Lainey's going to have to like sit up or kneel for a second. So you would measure shoulder girdles width, and so I'm just going to kind of measure her for herself here, maybe a little short. And now bring your arms behind you, and she's going to slip the strap on, and she's going to go to about mid-bicep. So it should feel tight but not restrictive. And then you're going to come back down into plank pose. Here, let's give her a little bit more room. A little too restrictive there. Okay, so now she's going to come down into, is that good? So going to come down forward onto her belly. Wiggle down, wiggle down. There we go. I'm going to let the ball go here for her. All right, so now she's down on her belly, and she can roll the toes under or use her knees, lifting her belly up off the floor, try to push up into that Chaturanga position. So now it kind of hugs her elbows in, forces her elbows to stay in, and she can practice that Chaturanga position. So again, nice deep breath in. Exhale, try to lift the torso, pelvis up off the floor, hold, shoulder blades pull back, and then drop it back down again. Let's try that one more time. Deep breath in, and then exhale, press it up, hold, and bring it back down again. So we're kind of creating a reverse pose in a sense to kind of build up that moving off the floor against gravity, which is a challenge in itself, I can definitely say. But what it's going to train you to do is use those tricep muscles and really try to help you use more core strength and restrict you from defaulting into the pecs and biceps, which so many of us do unconsciously as we come up off the floor. Elbows flare, we push up, it's like, okay, anything to get off the floor. Well, what ends up happening is we just continue to use the wrong muscles and continue to kind of avoid those atrophied, weaker ones where we're really not any better off, because the stronger get stronger and the weak just kind of stay maybe a little stronger, but there's never this balancing out of the two bowls. All right, I'm going to let Lainey out of the strap, and she can slowly press herself back, give herself a nice stretch. Great job.